Oh boy. Well, you know what I'm going to do? Hang on, I'm going to pause this real quick. All right then. Yeah, quiz tomorrow. I imagine it'll be short like this, just so no, I'm not going to throw any curveballs at you. I assume you can do 6 of these in well under 50 minutes, right? If not, then I think we might have some problems here. So for number one, first thing I'm going to do is go through and reduce all the basic numbery parts first. So sometimes it makes sense to multiply them all together. Sometimes it doesn't. So what do you notice that all the numbers can, well, give me something.
28.
Right. So if I take this 28 and this 35 and I divide them both by 7, I get a 4 and a 5. And then, of course, the 6 and the 8 can both be divided by 2, which leaves a 3 and a 4. And then the 4s can cancel out completely, which leaves us with a 3 and a 5. And of course, it also leaves us with the knowledge that our answer is going to be negative. So I'm going to put negative, and then I'm going to draw my fraction bar. And the only number that just, or the 2 numbers to survive are the 3 and the 5. So I'm going to put a 3 up here and a 5 down here. And now I'm going to mash across sideways. And remember, that means to add the exponents of the same variables together. So x will be to the power of what? 5, and y will be to the power of 18. And then mashing across the bottom, x to the 3rd and y to the 20th. And what's our final step? Minus, subtract, right? Since they're top bottom, do minus. And so my final answer is going to be negative fraction. And I know that there's a 3 and a 5. So like that I've known for a while. And then how many x's will I have? X squared on the top, because 5 minus 3 is positive 2. So it goes on top. And then how many y's? And that's that, right? Any questions there? Okay. For number 2, so this is where we really start having to know how to factor. I'm really disappointed in myself, most of all, if you still can't factor. I feel really bad about that. So the top left should factor into x plus 6, x minus 1. The lower left should factor into x minus 1 and also x minus 2. And then I am going to go ahead and do the swap here. So the bottom is going to get factored up to the top, and the top's going to move to the bottom. So the bottom moving up becomes x plus 3, x minus 2. And then the top moving to the bottom becomes x plus 3 squared, which I think it's beneficial in a case like this to not write it as x plus 3 squared. It's just easier if we just write them out separate like that. Any questions there? All right, watch out for those division signs, man. They're pesky, easy to overlook. And so now we're just going to go and cancel some stuff out. So I see x minus 2s. I see x minus 1s. And I did get the question several times throughout the day on Thursday that what do I do if there's 1 and then 2 of the same on bottom? You can only kill 1. So like x plus 3 says I can cancel 1 of you suckers, but not both. So you just got to pick 1. But he can only do single service there. That's it. So your final answer should just be x plus 6 over x plus 3. Still good? All right. Down to number 3. Oh my gosh, that's a long. So I maybe want to zoom out a bit on this one. What do we do first? Yeah, more specifically, pull out the greatest common factors, right? So don't encourage you to do more than that in one step. It's just not smart play. So on the top left, I can pull out 2, and I can also pull out x squared. And then that leaves behind just x minus 5. So that one's actually done. What about the lower left down here? I could just pull out an x, and that leaves behind x squared minus 64. So I'm like, all right, I'll be back for you. It's like, I'm not done with you, right? And it's another division problem. So be wise to take the bottom and factor it, but move your factors up to the top. And so I'm going to pull a 3, and I'm also going to pull an X. And again, if you're not paying attention, shame on you. Oh, we're doing the bottom and moving it to the top. So when I pulled out the 3 and the X, that leaves me with X squared plus 9X plus 8. And again, I'll be back for you. And then the top is going to factor down to the bottom. What am I going to pull out of the bottom? Negative 2x to the 4th. Very good. And that's going to leave behind x squared. Then what? Minus 4x minus 5. Good job with your sign switching there. Get those negatives out. You got to switch all the signs. So we're not quite done yet. The lower left down here where I'm moving my pen around is a difference of squares. So we have x times x plus 8 times x minus 8. So that's the done version of the lower left. How about the upper right? What does that factor into?
X plus 8.
Nice. So 3x and then x plus 8 times x plus 1. How about lower right? Nice, perfect. So that usually should take you a couple of minutes, right? You got to go through, and GCF should be its own step. Then the actual factoring should be its own step. And then, of course, the reward at the end is that, things are going to cancel. So I'm not gonna give you any problems where like nothing cancels. That's just like psychologically warfare-ish. Like, I'm not going to do that to you. So there'll be progress to be made. Sometimes a lot, sometimes less, but always something. So next thing is to go through now and assess the positivity, the negativity. What's my overall answer going to be, positive or negative? Definitely negative, because there's only one negative in the whole stinking problem. So I'm going to have a negative, and I'm going to go ahead and build a fraction while I'm here. And let's go through and deal with the numbery parts first. All I see is a 2 and a 3 and a 2. I don't see that as negative 2 anymore. So what happens there? Yeah, so this 2 up here, and this 2 down here eliminate each other. So at this point, like, it may not feel like a lot of progress, but we know that the overall answer is negative, and we know that there's a 3 right there. Can't get away from that. Let's mash up our x's. How many x's when you mash will be on top?
3.
3. How many will be on bottom?
5.
So if I have x to the 3rd on top and x to the 5th on bottom, overall, what am I putting in?
5.
Bottom x to the 2, right? 3 minus 5 is negative 2, so we stick it on the bottom. So I'm sticking an x to the 2 down here. That's always the hard part. Assuming you know how to factor, that's the hard part. And now the rest is just cancel some stuff out. And again, there will be progress. So these x plus 8s are going to go bye-bye. These x plus 1s are going to go bye-bye. These x minus 5s are going to go bye-bye. And it looks to me like the only one left standing is that x minus 8 on bottom. So that's it. And the only thing about that answer that I don't like is how off-center the 3 is. So I would just move it, but that's me. Any questions so far? We're doing good. Okie dokie. The next one is the number 4. And what do we do first? GCF, that sucker. What do we pull out of the top?
Negative 3x squared.
Nice. Leaving behind minus 2. Very good. How about the lower left?
X and 4x squared.
4. Oops, I did my colors wrong and I can't have that. 4x squared. Leaving behind what?
And 4 and
Yo. And this is time, so I don't have to do any flippy flop. I'm just top is top, bottom is bottom. What are we going to pull out of that upper right? Negative 4x. Leaving behind.
X squared minus 2x.
Yeah. And then there's the lower right.
X.
X. Leaving behind.
X squared.
Right. And just like the last problem, that upper left is is done. So that one can just wait. What is our lower left factor?
And
So both negatives. How about my upper right?
negative 4x times 6 minus 3 times
Yeah, good stuff there. And of course, the lower right.
x times x minus 4 times x.
Beautiful. There it is. Get rid of the old stuff. Bring in the new stuff, and then cancel stuff out. Overall, is my answer going to be positive or negative? For sure. Good job there. I see a couple of negatives. And so the smart thing to do at this point is really just to ignore the negatives. So like I can just kill them with an eraser. Oh, gone. There, we don't even have to worry about it. What do we see as far as numbers are concerned? Just 4, right? I'm just going to go kind of one thing at a time here. So I do observe, yes, that this 4 that I'm scribbling out in green is a perfect canceller for this 4, leaving again an answer with just one number. So I know my answer. I don't think I know my answer at this point in time is going to be a fraction with a 3 on top. Done. You almost can't go wrong if you just follow the steps, right? I mean, there's just steps. That's math is so much about steps, practice and memorize. X is across the top. How many?
3.
Across the bottom?
3.
Holy Toledo, what does that mean? Yep, no X's in our answer. Not singleton X's. Like there might be X's in binomial factors, but the single X's are dead. So we're going to go and cancel some stuff out. So X minus 2, X minus 3, boop, X plus 1, boop. And again, the last man standing, the only man standing is the X minus 4. That's it. Feel good? All right. 2 more. Upper left. Is there a GCF? Okay. So then I know that it has to factor into this. That's what's nice about those prime numbers. And then really it's just a rinky-dink algebra 1 level problem with just the extra variable there to freak you out. So what are we looking for? Minus 4, minus 9, perfect, plus 12, yep. How about the lower left? Yeah, no GCF, so we're just going to hop right in. It's 2x and 1x, and this time 1 has to be a plus and 1 has to be a minus. And the more of this you do, you just instinctively know to put the 3 dead polar opposite from the 2 to make the 6, which is close to the 5. That's just what we figure out. Math teachers can't really teach you that. We just kind of keep talking, and then eventually you just practice and things like that just go into your head. You just see them without us having anything to do with it. And then, of course, you want to be smart and put the minus on the 3y and then the plus on the 1y. So the balance comes out correctly. How about upper right? Yep, perfecto. How about the lower right?
X minus 4y.
Again, perfecto. As I said when we first learned this last week, if it helps you, if those Y's freak you out, just get rid of them real quick, you know, and then bring them back in. It's okay, it's legal. And this one was just a cancel fest, so we're gonna cancel out whatever we can. I see 2x plus y's. I see 3x minus 4y's. And that. So our final answer is x minus y over x plus y. Cool. And then the last problem has some extra stuff packaged in. So we are going to GCF here first. So what is the GCF in the upper left? And that leaves behind. Okay. Again, I say like, I'll be back. How about the lower left? Leaving behind. Nice. And, you know, now that you have some experience with this, you realize that, yes, that is not factorable, but, you know, this is where practicing comes in handy, as you know where this is headed. So I understand x squared plus 2x plus 4 is a dead factor, but, you know, just wait for it. And it's a division problem, so be careful. The 5x to the third is actually going to move up to the top. And he's not factorable, so I just copied him down. What about the 8 minus 4x? You got to pull out a negative 4, and that leaves behind. Yeah. Yeah, that difference of cubes in the upper left corner is calling to you. So up here in the upper left-hand corner, I have a difference of cubes, and I would say that the A value that I'm going to use is x, and the B value that I'm going to use is 2. So anytime it's cubes, you have to do the AB short set, long set. So I'm going to have 3 times short set times long set. And for the 924th time, I shall ask you about cubes. What will the short set be? X minus 2, way to keep that sign the same. And then what will the long set be? There it is. All right then. So at that point, all of the sort of intermediary work is done, and we have all of our factors exposed, and it's time to just start canceling things out. So I am going to cancel out. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. What am I doing? I'm breaking with my own procedure here. I need to go and deal with all my numbers and stuff. So as far as my final answer is concerned, will it be positive or negative? Definitely positive. So I'm going to make a fraction, and I'm not going to worry. Oh, my fat pen, Batman. Holy Toledo. Did you see that thing? He's like, I am fraction bar. Overall, the answer is positive. Anything reduce? 5s. That 5 and that 5 go bye-bye. And then that leaves us inevitably with a 3 and a 4. And then we go and mash. Remember, don't do the binomial or the parenthesized factors. Just look at your singleton ones. So I got x to the third up on top, and I got x to the 1 on bottom. What's that leaving? X squared on top. And then I'm going to start canceling my common factors. This time I'm going for fat pen. So x minus 2 and x minus 2. And then, of course, long set and that weird one. And that's it. Do you have any questions? That is all I'm going to do today. You can use your remaining 28 minutes to work on a page of notes. You can ask me some questions, whatever you would like. Tomorrow you will take a quiz. Wednesday we will start adding and subtracting. Good, good? All right, cool. Yes, ma'am. If I was going to make a list of steps, I would say Step 1. Are you going to ask if you can go to the restroom? Sure, why not? Sure.
Question.
Yes.
What assignment number was it we would do the multiple variables?
So for step 1, if you're looking for something for your page of notes to help you tomorrow, for step 1, every time I would say pull out a GCF. And I might call this like, I almost want to call it step 1.5. I don't know. I'll just call it step 2. To flop. Or not to flop. I feel like that's the good point in time where you should acknowledge, Bryn, if it's a multiplication or a division problem. And you can kind of do that honestly while you're pulling out the GCF. So that's why I was inclined to maybe call it step 1.5. Are you with me? Step 3. Do the actual factoring. And that's going to be the part where you break down your trinomials, or you break down your difference of squares, or your sum or difference of cubes. You still hanging with me? What do you think step 4 is? Yeah, so like let's call it we still have to reduce the numbers. You know what step I'm talking about? Okay. And then for step 5, I would, oh yeah, and actually let's put that as an addendum to step 4, reduce the numbers, and then let's put a little comment here. Is the answer positive or negative? Put a little question mark with that. Because I feel like that question kind of goes with the step where we're canceling out all the stupid 3s and 6s and stuff like that, right? The next step 5, I'm going to call it the mash and minus. And that's, remember, where you take all the singleton factors that aren't in parentheses and you multiply them, or you add their exponents going sideways and then subtract them going down. You still hanging with me? Okay, and then of course step 6 is cancel. I'm just going to put cancel stuff out. Does that help? Try to fit all that. Oh, look, I got it all on one screen if anyone wants to steal it. So there you go. All right. I guess I'll pause the recording instead of actually finalizing it. So if anyone comes up with any more questions, then I'll include it in today's recording. Because Maddie's usually pretty good about watching videos. So maybe if she's watching, then this will help her.